Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the class of OPM. We are going to cover the chapter of aggregate planning from this book, OPM 6th edition, William J. Stevenson. Today's our topic is aggregate planning. What is aggregate planning? Before moving towards this specific topic, I would like to discuss some specific examples with you. You know, when we discuss about televisions, there are different inches of televisions are available in a market. It may be 21 inch, 15 inch, 16 inch, whatever it is. So different models with different inches of televisions are available in the market. And when we are applying towards these different specific models in a combined way, it's called an aggregate plan. Suppose we can take another example of a mobile phone. There are different mobile phones are available in the market with different features, some with having a camera, of some having a good quality camera, some have low quality camera, some having a gallery, some having some other specific features, torch light, or some maybe other new features available in the market. And with these specific features, there are also available the mobile in different colors in the market. Or we can take the example of a cars. We can say that Honda Civic available in the market with different qualities, with upper roof or without roof, and some automatic and manual. And with this feature, there are cars available in the market with its different colors. So when we are making a plan as a whole about all these different colors, different models in combined way, it's called aggregate planning. So before moving towards the definition of aggregate planning, I would like to have some introduction. I would like to discuss the introduction of aggregate planning. Organizations make capacity decisions on 3 levels. Where in every organization, decisions are making at 3 levels. The first one is long-term planning, intermediate, and short-run plan. What is long-term plan? Long-term plans, we are discussing about long-term capacity. What will be the location of our business? What will be the layout? What will be the product we are going to design or offer? What will the work system? We will move towards the definition of long-term. Long-term decisions refer to the production and service selection. What product and service we will select in the organization. Suppose we can take an example that our country trying that in the future every cheese will be automatic, or every cheese will be in a automatic way available in 2015. So the plan of providing everything in automatic way in 2015 is a long-term planning, that what product and service will be offered, which product service to be offered, facility size and location, define the capacity decisions and layout facilities. These are long-term planning. The next one is intermediate plan. Intermediate plans are also called general levels of plan. What will be the employment means the function which are happening in each year. Every year, suppose every year we will check the level of employment. Every year we will check the level of output. Every year we will check the level of finished goods, inventory, subcontracting, back order, how much we will take product from subcontracting, how much we fulfill the back order every year. This is called intermediate plan. This intermediate plan normally for 2 to 3 years, and it will decide the boundaries in which short-term planning will be developed. Now we will move towards the definition of intermediate plan. Intermediate decisions relate to general level of employment, output, inventories, and define the boundaries within which short-run capacity decision must be made. Now, what will be the short-term plan? Short-term plans are for some specific period. Detailed plan like what will be the machine loading, what will be the job assignment, how will be job will be sequenced, production lot size is what will be the lot size of production in that specific period, order quantities, work schedules. These are called short-term planning. Now we move towards the definition of short-term planning. The short term essentially consists of deciding by best way to achieving the result within the constant resulting from long-term and intermediate decision planning. This is involved scheduling jobs, workers, equipments, and the like. Long-term planning is a planning horizon more than 1 year. Intermediate planning normally for a one time is for a period of 1 year, and short range planning or short term planning is normally for a period of 1 month or 2 months, and so on. So this is the aggregate planning. What is aggregate planning? Aggregate planning, intermediate range capacity planning, usually covering 2 to 12 months. Intermediate range planning is called aggregate planning. In aggregate planning, we will make a plan for normally about 2 to 12 months or for 1 year. Aggregate planning is a planning for a combination of different products. Normally, organization make a corporate strategies or policies. This come to the subject of strategic management. We will discuss the corporate strategies and policies in the subject of strategic management. Then the next step in the planning of aggregate planning is deciding what will check about the economic conditions, competition, political condition, which mean environment comes at the second step of planning. First of all, we have to decide our overall organization strategies and policies, long-term planning. Then we will decide about check about our environment, our competitive condition, our political condition, and then third we will move towards our aggregate planning, intermediate planning. Aggregate will check our aggregate demand and forecast. What will be the forecasted aggregate demand for that specific period? Taking into these three steps, we will make a business plan. In business plan, we establish production and capacity strategies, and after production business plan we will make production plan. In production plan we will check our production capacities, and after production plan we will make master scheduling. Master scheduling is basically establish a strategy for specific products. We will decide how much product A we are in need, how much product B we will be in need, and in master scheduling we will do specific detailed planning. Now we will check the purpose and scope of aggregate planning. The basic problem addressed by aggregate planning is the balancing of supply and demand. The basic two factors which we are going to study is supply and demand. As we have discussed in detail that aggregate planning is a combination plan for different type of products. We will take this product as a whole, and this planning is normally for the period of 1 year. Now the most important thing we have to consider is demand and supply, or supply chain management. In supply chain management we normally discuss check the supply and demand. We will along with the purpose of aggregate planning, the primary decision variable available to the planner are an associated cost. Important thing which the aggregate planner have to consider is the important thing is the cost associated with those plan. If supply and demand are not in a balance, if supply and plan are not in a balance, that will cost the organization, because there will be added cost and of adjusting the system as well as opportunity cost. So avoiding this cost, supply and demand must be balanced. Demand and supply in aggregate planning are concerned with the quantity and timing of expected demand. We must have to check how much goods are required demanded by the customer, and at what time this demand are incurred by the customer. If the expected demand for the planning period is much different from available capacity in that same period, the major approach of planner will be to try to achieve a balance by altering capacity or demand. What's mean by this sentence? Because they are saying maybe the a capacity available with the planner is changed from the demand available by the customer. So in this situation, the planners are required to match the capacity or demand by altering either demand or by altering either capacity. Basically there are three strategies which we have to consider. First one is proactive, the second one is preactive. In proactive strategies we are mainly concerned with demand. We are focusing on demand. In proactive strategy, we are trying our best to change the demand according to the situation. Suppose we can take the examples of happy hour in restaurants. In restaurants, you normally find that there is a rush in timing of morning and at the time of lunch, because people are trying to come at this time and fulfill their requirement. And after that, or in between this specific time, the hotels are empty, so hotel are providing happy hour with some lower cost, so that people come in that specific hours, and those customer which are cost conscious will come at that specific time and fulfill their requirement. And the second one is reactive. In reactive, which will change the capacity of our production. Suppose in that hotel, when there is a rush timing, we will try to launch some tables for to fulfill the demand of our customer at that specific time. And the third one strategy is a mixture of pro and reactive strategies. So in this demand and capacity paragraph, we will have checked that the demand and capacity are two important factors which must be considered by aggregate planners. And when we are fulfilling the requirement of our customers, either we must have to check that demand and capacity must be balanced at every time. At any time when there is a gap in the demand and capacity level, the gap must be fulfilled by the planner, either by changing the demand or either by changing the capacity. Now there are some specific inputs for aggregate planning. What is the important input for aggregate planning must be considered while we are checking our demand and capacity, and we are being a plan to either to change demand or other to change capacity. There are some factors which affect this capacity and demand. So what are the basic those input which affect our aggregate planning? The first one is important information. Must have the information available with us. And the second one is available resources. Over the planning period, we know about our resources which will be available in our that specific period. Either we will can fulfill our plan with these resources. Then a forecast. Inspected demand must be available. We must know that how much will be our demand will be expected in the future. Once we check our resources, then we check our demand. Then finally planning or take into account any changes in employment level or any other level, so that they can incorporate that change into their planners. Though in the third step, we are checking our changes, because the changes come when the time is near. Suppose I am planning for a 2 year, but when the time comes with near to me, suppose I am planning for 2 year we are taking intermediate plan. We are taking a plan for 1 year, and that specific month when we are going to apply that plan, I have to check that what are the specific changes come, and I have to incorporate that changes in my plan. So the three inputs are very important for aggregate plan. First one is information available, and next one is resources available with me, and third one is expected demand, and fourth one is the changes comes in any plan. Demand and capacity options. Now when we are doing a plan for intermediate level, or we are making an aggregate plan, there are there are two options available with us. Either we can change demand or either we can change capacity, as we have discussed our strategies, proactive and reactive strategies. Now first of all, I will take the proactive strategy and checking my demand option. How can I change my demand with respect to capacity? First one is pricing. The first step in demand is pricing. How can I change my demand with pricing? Pricing is a very important step. Suppose I will use the pricing method when my demand is high, and when I in a peak period, when I'm having too much demand, so I will increase the price of my products in that timing, so that period will so that cost cautious customers will come on those periods when price is low, as I have discussed the example of hotel, and I have said that I will introduce happy hours. In those hours I will offer less price, but I will charge high price in the timing when there is demand is too much high, so that I want to shift my products demand from rush hours to happy hours. The first one method is pricing. The next one is promotion. The promotion method is applied when the demand is very. Promotion method is applied in a situation when demand is low and I have high capacity of production. When demand is very low and I have high level of production, so I will do promotions, I will do advertisement, I will introduce my product with other areas and there are no customers, so that want to increase my demand in I want to increase demand of the products, and so that my capacity will be fulfilled. The third one is back order. Back orders is the orders which are left in rush hours. Suppose I have so many orders in rush timings and I am unable to complete all these orders in that specific timing. Some orders are left with me. The orders which are left at that timing will be fulfilled at later on. So the back orders are that type of orders, but some penalty will be applied on such type of back orders. New demands means when I am trying to introduce my product in new way. Suppose I find some other market for my that specific product. Suppose I will take the example of buses. The bus timing is normally rush timing are morning and about 7 to 9 o'clock, and then from 12 to 2 o'clock. But in between that timing the bus is available or is available for any other purpose. And when I use that slack time in some other way, suppose I apply my bus for clubs, I will apply my bus for senior citizen groups, I will apply my bus for school trips. These are the new demands, and organization try to introduce or search out new demand for their product, so that the demand increase and they can use their capacity. The next one is reactive strategies or capacity option. In this in this option I will try to increase or decrease my capacity production. First one is hire and lay off worker. I can hire new worker when I am in need of to increase my capacity production, and organization can lay off their organization workers when the organizations try to decrease their productions. So the problem is union contractors. Union contractors normally try to restrict this method. They will discourage this method of hiring and layoff of workers, because workers are the most important resource for any organizations. Though so it will help to increase or decrease my capacity production, but at the same way it will have a negative effect on my workers. It will have negative effect on worker contractors union contractors, and it will affect my workers honesty and their motivations. The next method available with me is overtime and slack time. In this method the same workers I will try my best to retain my workers, that so that they can work in second shift or third shift. In this way my workers will get some other benefit and some other payment for the work they have provided to my organization. But at the same time union contractors also discourage this method, because there are some specific capacity of to that level workers can work. Suppose I have a timing of 5 to 5 morning 8 to 5 o'clock. After that 5 o'clock worker can work up to 7 to 9 2 hours more, and they are unable to work more than that 2 hours. So union contractors avoid this method, and there are some other limitations also available in this way. The third one method is available with me is part-time worker. In part-time workers I hired skilled workers, and I hire workers on a contract basis. They will work for my organization. Suppose I will take the example of a college. There are this is a government college, and all are permanent workers are available there. If they hire contract workers for 1 year, that worker fulfill that requirement for that specific period. Union contractors are not going to discourage this method because these workers are not going to pay any amount for union contractor, and at the same time these workers are trying their best to provide good task and do their hard work, provide good results, so that can be hired as a permanent worker. So this is the best method for any organization. Another best method is inventories. In inventories, organizations make a safety stock or say their finished product they have produced in select timing, and they want to utilize these finished goods at the timing when demand is high. But keep in your mind that some cost will be associated with this type of method, because the cost of holding that inventories are incurred in such type of method. But it is best way, because it will through this way I can fulfill my demand of product in rush, or I don't have to face back orders because the product available with me. But another drawback available with this type of method is applicable in production of products or in product manufacturing organization, but this method is unable to applicable in a service organization, because I can't manufacture a service and save it for later for that timing. Contracting Subcontracting is a method in which large or big organizations, manufacturing organizations, take finish products or complete product on contract basis from other organization. It's also best way to complete my capacity or decrease my capacity, but at the same way the cost of product produced by subcontracted is high, or maybe the quality may not fulfill the requirement of the organization. So this is the last method I have discussed today. I have discussed about the general overview of our aggregate planning. What's mean by aggregate planning? What are the basic three type of plans? In these three type of plan, or what are the overall organization's steps of aggregate planning? Suppose as we have discussed, organization will make a strategic plan, then organization will check environment, then make aggregate plan. After considering these three factor, organization make business plan, then production plan, and the last master scheduling. In this diagram, the topic in today's we are going to discuss aggregate plan for intermediate period for 1 year for different type of product, as we have take the example of TV, as we have take the example of mobile phone, car, or other example we can take also. Then after this consideration, we have checked the two basic factor which are most important for aggregate plan is capacity and demand. Then we have discussed three strategies, and applying these strategies, first of all we have applied strategy 1 and check how can we change the demand, increase or decrease the demand of product according to our capacity of production. And the second we have checked how can we increase or decrease the capacity of production with related to demand. Or the third strategy is the mixed strategy, in which we will use proactive and reactive strategies, both based on our environment or demand level. Thank you so much.